Hello everyone, this is MELON's channel, and today I had a very strange idea. What if we dropped a whole group of melons into lava at once? Could they create a secret lava mutant? The idea itself sounds pretty crazy, because when too many melons are in one place, something completely unusual can happen inside the lava. It's especially interesting to imagine the moment when not just one melon, but many, hits the lava at once. In such moments, everything becomes much more intense, because the movements overlap, there are constant collisions, and it feels like real movement is starting inside the lava, which can lead to unexpected results. When you look at the lava, you get the feeling that it can react to the number of objects. The more melons are inside, the denser the scene becomes. They begin to shift, collide, and gradually converge, and visually it seems as if a large cluster is forming inside, which behaves completely differently than a single object. The moment when several melons are close to each other is especially strange. They begin to move almost in sync, constantly colliding, and the scene becomes increasingly tense. In these moments, it feels as if something is forming within, as if individual objects are beginning to merge. The more melons there are inside the lava, the more instability is felt. The movements accelerate, the collisions become more frequent, and it feels as if something entirely new could be forming within. These moments are the most suspicious, because it seems as if just a little more and the result could be completely different. Sometimes, it seems that the large number of melons could be the key to the mutant's emergence. When there are too many, they begin to occupy all the space within the lava, and the movements become more dense. In these moments, it seems as if the system is working at its limits. It's especially interesting to observe the moment when the entire group begins to gather closer to the center. They gradually shift, collide, and visually it seems as if a single zone of movement is forming within. These zones look like the beginning of something new and unusual. The denser the group, the greater the sense of tension. The movements become more abrupt, collisions occur almost continuously, and the scene begins to look as if something is forming within. At such moments, the thought arises that the mutant could emerge from such a dense cluster. The moment when the number of melons reaches its maximum appears especially tense. They begin to overlap, the movements become chaotic, and the entire scene appears unstable. It is precisely this instability that usually leads to the most unexpected results. Sometimes, it seems as if a single center of movement is emerging within the lava. The melons gradually shift toward a single point, colliding with each other more and more frequently, and it visually seems as if something like a common core is forming within. These moments appear extremely suspicious. The longer the movement within the lava continues, the stronger the feeling that everything is moving toward a single outcome. Not just random collisions, but a gradual unification that can lead to the emergence of a new object. It is precisely these processes that usually mark the beginning of the most unusual changes. It's especially interesting to observe the moment when several melons are almost completely together. They begin to move as a single entity, constantly colliding, and the scene becomes extremely dense. In such moments, it seems as if the mutant that forms from a large number of objects could appear within the lava. Sometimes, one wonders if the density were to increase even further, an entirely new process could begin within. When the space is completely filled, movement becomes limited, and the scene appears as if a single massive movement is forming within. Especially strange is the moment when the group stops moving chaotically and begins to gather in one place. This creates the sensation of a single center emerging within, round which everything begins to revolve. Such centers always seem like the beginning of something new. The more you observe what's happening, the stronger the feeling becomes that not just movement, but a new result could emerge within the lava. Not individual melons, but something unified. These moments are usually the most intense. At times it feels as if the lava is holding the entire group within, preventing them from dispersing. This makes the scene even more dense, as the movements continue in one spot. At such moments, the thought arises that a mutant could form right here. It's especially interesting to observe the moment when the entire group finds itself in one area and stops drifting apart. This creates the feeling that a single object is forming within, one that could be the beginning of something new. These moments always seem extremely tense. The longer this process continues, the more it seems that the secret lava mutant could be emerging within the lava. When the movements coincide, when the density reaches its maximum, the scene looks as if the result is just around the corner. Sometimes the most unusual effects appear precisely when everything reaches its limit. When there are too many objects, the system begins to behave unconventionally. And it's precisely these moments that most often lead to the most unexpected results. The moment when the entire group begins to move as a single unit becomes especially tense. They collide almost simultaneously, shift together, and visually it seems as if a new form of movement is forming within. These moments look like the beginning of the mutant's emergence. And it's precisely in these seconds that the feeling arises that something entirely new could be emerging within the lava. Not just a group of melons, but the result of their unification. And it seems like it's only a matter of time before we'll see if a secret lava mutant can actually emerge from such a group. Leave a comment on how many melons you think need to be immersed in lava at once for a lava mutant to appear. What other experiments are worth trying next? Like and subscribe so you don't miss the next lava and volcano experiments in Melon Playground. I like this scenario, but make it longer and add some more intrigue.